Peace and shalom, Israel. Before we start the lesson, hit the notification button because we upload lessons every week and I don't want you to miss a single one of them. Like, comment, subscribe, and if there's a topic you would like for us to cover, we'll see what we can do. So until next time, cue the music. All praises to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And peace to everyone joining us on this program. This is the Fountain of Israel Bible Studies program. And as always, it's an honor for me to stand before you on the Lord's holy Sabbath day. We are continuing in our series called Countdown to Pentecost. And this particular lesson will cover faith. Countdown to Pentecost, faith. So we want to touch on faith because some people will have this idea of faith that is just a feeling, that is just emotional assent. And it's really more than that. It is a strong belief. It is a trust. It is a knowing. It's not a guess. And we're going to look at a few examples of faith in the Bible, a little bit New Testament and a lot of Old Testament, but we want to actually look at how strong are some of the patriarchs in the Bible, how strong are some of their faiths. Now, obviously, time does not permit us to look at all the various examples in there. We can go to Abraham and he having faith by nearly sacrificing his son Isaac. We can use the story of Esther and her faith and her being in a place, in a particular place for a particular reason, which was to liberate her people. And there are many others that we could use as an example, but we will not have time to go through all of it, but we'll go through some to give everyone an idea of what we mean about having rock solid faith. So with that, let's begin in Proverbs chapter 3. Proverbs chapter 3, and let's start off at verse 5. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5.
Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding.
Okay.
In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path.
Okay, so our trust should first and foremost be in the Most High, period. And we need to know what we should trust in, and that is his word, okay? His unfailing word. We trust in that, trust in him, trust in his plan. Sometimes we don't understand the path that we have to walk. Sometimes we don't understand the obstacles that are before us or the things that are in our way, but we have to trust in him and lean not on our own understanding. Sometimes we rack our brains and trying to make sense of everything. Well, guess what? Sometimes it has to go to your faith. Sometimes it has to boil down to, do you simply trust him? When he says, make the leap, will you jump? So we have to look at things like that. And it has always been about faith. Always. It's not a New Testament thing, brand new, hey, this faith thing, we're in the age of faith. No, it was always about faith. It was always about whether or not you were going to listen to the voice of God and follow, whether you understood or not. So let's go to Habakkuk chapter 2. Go to Habakkuk 2. And we just want one verse out of Habakkuk. Chapter 2. And just give me verse 4, brother, if you will. Habakkuk 2, 4.
Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Okay, read that again. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith.
So it was always about faith. The just shall live by faith, which is emunah, which is a Hebrew word, and it's emunah, okay? And it's a firmness, a fidelity, steadfastness, steadiness. That's what faith is, okay? I mean, we know in the New Testament and faith is this and it's the substance and that and all that. We'll get there. But I'm going right back to the Hebrew. I'm in the Strong's right now, okay? And it's the firmness. So your faith is not some vapor you can barely touch and put your hands on. It's a firmness. It's a steadfastness. You do something because I am firm. I am steadfast in what I believe. Does that make sense? That's what we're talking about. So it's not just some little inconsequential feeling in our heart. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to Psalm 23. Go to Psalm 23. Psalm chapter 23. And we're pretty much going to read all the Psalms in 23, 1 through 6. Psalm chapter 23, and pick it up at verse 1, if you will, brother. Let the Bible speak.
The Lord is my shepherd.
Yes.
I shall not want.
Uh-huh.
He maketh me to lie down in green pastures.
Yes.
He leadeth me beside the still waters.
Yes.
He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake.
Yes, sir.
Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death,
Mm-hmm.
I will fear no evil,
Mm-hmm.
for thou art with me.
Mm-hmm.
Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me.
How much faith did you have to actually believe the words that he's reading right now? Imagine these were your words. Imagine that. Because who can agree that life has many ups and downs, peaks and valleys, highs, lows, twists, turns? We can all agree with that, right? Now imagine if these words were yours, okay? The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, which means he will lead you, correct? Okay, he's your shepherd. You shall not want. He's going to lead you into the right place. He making me lie down in green pastures. You're going to be okay. He leading me beside the still waters, okay? That's some calmness right there. Okay, make these words your own. He restores my soul. Okay, he builds you back up, your body, your soul. He restores that. He leading me to the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Okay, we know what his path of righteousness is. We know what that straight gate is. Okay, for his name's sake. Say, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will feel no evil. It didn't say, well, I won't go through anything. Trouble will never find me. But he said, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will feel no evil. Thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Verse 5.
Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies.
Yes.
Thou anointest my head with oil.
Yes.
My cup runneth over.
He's got more than enough. Okay? Has more than enough grace, more than enough knowledge, more than enough of the Spirit, more than enough to make it through whatever comes before him. And these words should be my words, and they should be your words. They should be our thoughts. They should guide us. That's why the psalmist wrote these things. They wrote them for us. Wrote them for us. And the last verse, verse 6.
Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life,
Mm-hmm.
and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
That's eventually what we want to do. We're not just talking about just some building or whatever. We eventually will dwell in the house of the Lord forever on that day when it happens. But you got to have faith in that. You got to believe that. Otherwise, what are we doing? What are we doing? This is just lip service if we don't actually believe what we are studying, if we're not internalizing all these things. Let's go on over to Numbers. Let's look at a couple of things here. Numbers chapter 13. Numbers chapter 13. Let's take a look. Okay? Numbers 13. And when you get there, we're going to start at verse 1. Okay? We're going to look at verse 1. We're going to look at something. Acts of faith. Okay? It's going to be one of our first examples of an act of faith. 13:1, let the Bible speak.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying,
Mm-hmm.
Send out men, that they may search the land of Canaan,
Mm-hmm.
which I give unto the children of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Of every tribe of their fathers shall ye send a man,
Mm-hmm.
every one a ruler among them.
Mm-hmm.
And Moses, by the commandment of the Lord, sent them from the wilderness of
Paran. Mm-hmm.
All those men were heads of the children of Israel.
All the men were the heads of the children of Israel. Go ahead.
And these were their names: of the tribe of Reuben,
Shammua.
the son of Zachar.
Mm-hmm.
Of the tribe of Simon, Shaphat the son of Hori.
Mm-hmm.
Of the tribe of Judah, Caleb the son of
Jephunneh.
Of the tribe of Isaac,
Issachar.
Egal, the son of Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
And the tribe of Ephraim,
Oshia.
the son of Nun.
Mm-hmm.
Of the tribe of Benjamin,
Palti,
the son of Raphu.
Mm-hmm.
Of the tribe of
Zebulun.
Gadiel, the son of Sodi.
Mm-hmm.
Of the tribe of Joseph, namely of the tribe of
Manasseh,
Gadi, the son of
Susi.
Of the tribe of Dan,
Amiel,
the son of Gamal.
Mm-hmm.
Of the tribe of Asher, Seth, the
Sethur,
son of
Michael.
Michael. Of the tribe of
Naphtali,
Nabi, the son of
Vafsi.
Of the tribe of Gad.
Guel, the son of Makai. Go ahead.
These are the names of the men which Moses sent to spy out the land. And Moses called Hoshea, the son of Nun,
Jehoshua. Which is Joshua, but go ahead.
And Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said unto them, Get you up this way southward, and go up into the mountain, and see the land what it is, and the people that dwell therein, whether they be strong or weak, few or many. Okay. And what the land is that they dwell in, whether it be good or bad, and what cities they be that they dwell in, whether in tents or in strongholds. Okay, so he want to take a look. He's going to take men. He take one man out of each tribe, a leader, an elder, okay, a ruler in Israel, one man out of each tribe, and say, hey, look, we need to go out and spy out this land that the Lord want us to go and inhabit and take over. Okay, but we want to see what's going on. Let's get some intel on this particular location. In 16, he said, these are the names of the men which Moses sent out to spy on the land. And Moses called Hoshea, the son of Nun, Yehoshua. And Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said unto them, Get you up this way southward, and go up into the mountains. So go ahead, you're going to go up to the mountains. You're going to go up high so you can look down and see what is going on. And he says, and see the land, what is it, and the people that dwell therein, whether they be strong or weak or few or many. We need some intel on what's going on. And then he said, also in 19, he said, and what the land is that they dwell in, whether it be good or bad, what cities they be that they dwell in, whether it is tents or it has strongholds. You want to know if there's walls, and what kind of things do they have? How they're protecting this particular land. Let's get some information on that. Verse 20, go ahead. And what the land is, whether it be fat or lean, whether there be wood therein or not. Is it fruitful? Yeah, go ahead. And be ye of good courage, and bring of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the time of the first grapes. Right, so it's a harvest time. So he says, okay, bring some of that stuff on the land. Let's see what they're working with. Let's see what's going on in this land. But go ahead. So they went up and searched the land from the wilderness of Zin into Rehob, as men come to Hamath. And they ascended but by the south, and came unto Hebron, where Heman and Shishai and Talmai, and the children of Anak, where Hebron was built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. And they came unto the brook of Eshcol, and cut down there from thence a branch with one cluster of grapes. And they bare it between two upon a staff. And they brought of the pomegranates and of the figs. Okay, so just so you guys know how fruitful this land was, you got to understand, I don't want you guys to miss it. He said in 23, and they came unto the brook of Eshcol, and cut down from thence a branch with one cluster of grapes. And they bare it between two upon a staff. So two people had to carry these grapes. That's how big they were. This bushel was huge. Okay. And they brought of the pomegranates and of the figs. So they're bringing some food, and so that Moses can see, okay, what type of fruit the land is bearing. Okay. So let's continue. 24. The place was called the brook Eshcol, because of the cluster of grapes which the children of Israel cut down from thence. And they returned from searching of the land after 40 days. And they went and came to Moses and to Aaron and to all the congregation of the children of Israel unto the wilderness of Paran and Kadesh, and brought back word unto them and unto all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. Go ahead. And they told him and said, we came unto the land whither thou sentest us, and surely it floweth with milk and honey, and this is the fruit of it. Okay, so he was just saying that it's a very fruitful land. It bared a lot of fruit. It's lush, green, had a lot of stuff. It's as the Lord said, it flowed with milk and honey. Okay. So, but he says, nevertheless, in 28, what? Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there.
Okay, well, we have to understand the children of Anak were giants. They were really tall people. You know, archaeology suggests some 8, 9, 10, 12 feet tall. These are some really, really tall people, which is why they're going to give a description here a little bit later as we continue to read. Go ahead.
The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites, and the Jebusites, and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea and by the coast of Jordan. And Caleb stilled the people before Moses and said, "Let us go up at once and face it, for we are well able to overcome it." Okay,
so basically there's like the Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, the Hittites are there, the Jebusites are there, the Amorites, they dwell in the mountains. The Canaanites, they're over by the sea and the coast of Jordan. And Caleb stilled the people. We're like, calm down. We got this.
Grimly.
Yeah, we can take them. That's what Caleb was saying. He said, calm down. Don't worry about that. Caleb stilled the people before Moses and said, let us go up at once. Let's go right now. Let's go right now. All right, let's go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. Sound like someone that has some faith, huh? Sound like Caleb had some extreme faith. Yeah, they tall. Yeah, I know. So that's the feeling he had. So do we have that kind of faith? 31. Go ahead.
But the men that went up with him said,
what they say?
We be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we.
Does it sound like they have faith? Now you listen to what they said, and then listen to what Caleb said, and you know their faith. Continue. 32.
And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, the land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the
inhabitants thereof.
And all the people that we saw in it are men of a
great stature. Okay, men of great stature. So we know we're talking about some really huge guys, right? Really, 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 really big guys. All right. So everybody real tall, and all you have to do is do your history on the Amalekites, the children of Anak. They really, really tall. And if you don't want to take my word for it, that's okay. Read verse 33.
And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak.
Okay, now, okay, so no one can just simply say, oh, well, Brother Robert's just making it up, okay? So he said, and there we saw giants, go ahead.
Which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. Okay, so he was kind of giving us a picture. We were grasshoppers. My point of that is I wanted to bring out the faith of Caleb and Joshua. Only 2 people were like, yeah, we can take them. It's fine. We can do this. Everybody else, nervous, scared. So if the Lord says, if we go way back in the beginning, okay, when the Lord says, okay, send them out that they may search the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel. Okay, I'm going to give it to you. That should be enough if you think about it. The Lord said we're going to give it to you. That should be enough instead of you wondering, well, okay, well, how are we going to do this? Oh, well, there's big guys in the land. There's giants in the land. How can we take them? Yeah, the land was flowing with milk and honey, and look at all this fruit and all that. It's great, but those guys, I don't know. How strong is your faith? Caleb probably had no idea how they were going to personally get it done, but he knew, hey, God's behind us. It's going to get done. We will get it done because we have the God of Israel behind us. Our power and our force and our faith is in the mighty one of Jacob. Let us continue. Join me over in the book of Judges. Let's look at this. Judges chapter 6. Judges chapter 6 and verse 36. Judges chapter 6. Let's go to 36. Okay. When you get there, let the Bible speak. And Gideon said unto God, if thou wilt save Israel by mine hand, as thou hast said, behold, I will put a fleece of wool in the floor, and if the dew be on the fleece only, and it be dry upon all the earth beside, then shall I know that thou wilt save Israel by mine hand, as thou hast said.
Now I want to set the stage for you guys. This is Gideon. This is in Judges, okay? And the Lord wanted to send Gideon to deliver the children of Israel. Gideon wasn't a very brave man, okay? So he wanted to make sure. He wanted to make sure that God was with him. So he instituted a test. He wanted God to prove, okay, God, I need to make sure you're with me. So if I might have one little petition, please, if you don't mind. So he said, behold, I'll put a fleece of wool in the floor, and if the dew be on the fleece only, so a little moisture, a little wetness will be only on the little fleece, okay, on a little bit of wool there, only, not on the floor, and it be dry upon the earth beside it, okay, then shall I know that thou wilt save Israel by my hand, as thou hast said. In verse 38, what does it say?
And it was so. He rose up early on the morrow, and thrust the fleece together, and wringed the dew out of the fleece, a bowl full of water.
Oh, look at that. A thread, piece of wool, fleece, okay? And he wrung it out, bowl full of water. God said, challenge accepted. Go ahead.
And Gideon said unto God, let not thine anger be hot against me, and I will speak but this once. Let me prove, I pray thee, but this once with the fleece. Let it now be dry only upon the fleece, and upon all the ground let there be dew.
Okay, so he said, okay, cool, Lord. Okay. You made the fleece wet. I got it. I filled the bowl up with water. Now, I just want to make sure this is what you want me to do. Can we do the reverse? Can the fleece be dry, bone dry, and the dew be on the earth all around the fleece, except the water, except on the fleece? Can we do that, if you don't mind? Okay, don't be mad at me. Okay, like he said in 39, he said, and Gideon said unto the Lord, let not thy anger be hot against me. Because you don't want to push God a little too much. But Gideon was afraid. Well, we get in the picture here. Okay, he wasn't sure if this is what he wanted to do. So Gideon said unto the Lord, let not thy anger be hot against me, and I will speak but this once. Let me prove, or test, let me prove, I pray thee, but this once with the fleece, let it now be dry only upon the fleece, and upon all the ground let there be dew. In verse 40, what happened?
And God did so that night, for it was dry upon the fleece only, and there was dew on all the ground. Okay,
so it was enough of that testing. So now the Lord have to get going. So don't worry, we're going to the next chapter. Go to Judges chapter 7. Okay, go to Judges chapter 7. All right, so the Lord allowed him to have his little test to prove him, to test him, because sometimes we can't test. Okay, it's okay. You can't tempt him, but you can test just to make sure. Okay, so Judges 7 verse 1. Let the Bible speak. Jerubbaal, which is really Gideon, but go ahead.
Who is Gideon, and all the people that were with him rose up early and pitched beside the well of Harod, so that the hosts of the Midianites were on the north side of them by the hill of Moreh in the valley. And the Lord said unto Gideon, the people that are with thee are too many for me to give the Midianites into their hands.
No, he said the people that are with him. He's talking about Israelites. He's not talking about the enemies. The Lord's not talking about the enemies, okay? So let me give that to you. He said, and the Lord said unto Gideon, the people that are with thee are too many for me to give the Midianites into their hands. Okay? Lest, why did he say that? Lest what?
Lest Israel vaunt themselves against me, saying, mine own hand hath saved me.
Because it'll be too many people in the army, in the Israelite army, and they would think that, okay, well, we did it because, you know, our force is stronger and bigger than theirs, is mightier than theirs. So the Lord said, Lord is going to say, no, I want less. Okay? I want to beat them, the Midianites, with less Israelites. Okay, that way they'll know it was me, and they won't get puffed up in their mind thinking it was with their power that they achieved this. Continue, verse 2.
And the Lord said unto Gideon, the people that are with thee are too many for me to get. Wait, you said
Israel vaunt themselves against me, saying, my own hand has saved me. Verse 3, go ahead.
Now therefore go to proclaim in the ears of the people, saying, whosoever is fearful and afraid, let them return and depart early from Mount Gilead. And there returned of the people 22,000, and and there remain 10,000.
Okay, now you guys got to get the picture. Okay, you got to get the picture. He said, now therefore go to and proclaim, so let everybody know. Okay, he said, whoever is fearful and afraid, whoever's scared, you don't want to do this. Okay, you don't want to go forth to battle because it's about to be a battle. You can go home. Okay, he just told you can go home. He said, and there return of the people, 22,000 people left and went home. What was left? There remained 10,000 people. What did the Lord say in verse 4?
And the Lord said unto Gideon, the people are yet too many. Bring them down unto the water, and I will try them for thee there. And it shall be that of whom I say unto thee, and they shall go with thee, the same shall go with thee, and of whomsoever I say unto thee, this shall not go with thee, the same shall not go. Okay, so now we're going to take them down by the river, and whoever I say are going to go with you, that's who's going to go, and who I say must stay will need to stay. Continue. So he brought down the people unto the water, and the Lord said unto Gideon, everyone that lappeth of the water with his tongue, as a dog lappeth, him shall thou set by himself. Okay, so you're going to put them on one side, the ones who actually lean down in the river and just drink the water out of the river with their tongue, with their mouth. Okay, who lapped the water up like a dog. He said, sit all them over here on this side. What else? Likewise, everyone that boweth down upon his knees to drink. Okay, so some people are going to bow down on their knee and they're going to kind of cup their hands and drink out of their hands. Some people are going to drink directly out of the river. He's separating those two. Okay, go ahead. Verse 6. And the number of them that lapped, putting their hand to their mouth. Hand, see, grab the water, hand to the mouth. Go ahead. Were 300 men. But all the rest of the people bowed down upon their knees to drink water. Oh, okay, so he just gave you the separation of what happened. Okay, so the number of them that lapped, putting their hands to their mouth, okay, were 300 men. So we got the 300 right there. But all the rest of the people bowed down upon their knees to drink the water. Okay, what else in verse 7? And the Lord said unto Gideon, by the 300 men that lapped will I save you. Yes. And deliver the Midianites into thine hand. And let all the other people so go every man unto this place. Okay, so everyone must understand something. He whittled down, he went down from 22,000 people. Okay, that's too many people. Down to 10,000, right? Then he said, no, that's too many. All the way down to 300 people. I'm going to take down the Midianites, who were numbering in the thousands. I'm going to take them with 300. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take them with 300. That way you know it was because of me. It was because of the mighty one of Jacob. Okay? So, like he said in 7, he said, and the Lord said unto Gideon, by the 300 men that lapped will I save you and deliver the Midianites into thy hand, and let all the people go every man unto his place. Let them go back home. Verse 8. So the people took victuals in their hand, their trumpets. And he sent all the rest of Israel, every man unto his tent, and retained those 300 men. And the host of Midian was beneath him in the valley. Okay, so they were kind of high in the mountains a little bit because, you know, the Midianites was down low in the valley. So they were getting ready to go to war, get ready to go take them down. Verse 9. And it came to pass the same night that the Lord said unto him, arise, get thee down unto the host, for I have delivered it into thine hand. Go get it. It's time. It's time. Get up. It's time to go. Do it. Read on. But if thou fear to go down, go thou with Phurah, thy servant down to the host. And thou shalt hear what they say. And afterward shall thine hands be strengthened to go down unto the host. Then went he down with Phurah, his servant, unto the outside of the armed men that were in the host. And the Midianites and the Amalekites and all the children of the east lay along in the valley like grasshoppers for multitude. Oh, there's a bunch of them. There was thousands of them. Go ahead. And their camels without number, as the sand by the sea aside, or multiple. That's a lot. The thousands, tens of thousands, guys. Go ahead. And when Gideon was come, behold, there was a man that told a dream unto his fellow and said. Now, remember, Gideon is sneaking down there because he wanted to listen in on something. Okay, he snuck down into the valley. He wanted to take a listen to the Midianites and the Amalekites and stuff. Okay, so now he's overhearing something. Okay, he's still in hiding, but he's overhearing something. And he said, and when Gideon was come, what happened? Behold, there was a man that told a dream unto his fellow and said, behold, I dreamed a dream, and lo, a cake of barley bread tumbled into the host of Midian, and came unto a tent, and smote it that it fell, and overturned it, that the tent lay alone. Okay, let's see. Now let's see what that interpretation of that dream. Now this is guy down in the Midianite Amalekite army. Let's see here the interpretation of his own dream. 14 said, and his fellow answered and said, what?
He said, this is nothing else save the sword of Gideon the son of
Joash,
a man of Israel. For into his hand hath God delivered Midian and all the host.
Whoa, he just interpreted the dream. Now these two are on the same, on the same team. They're on the camp. This is what Gideon overheard. Okay, he just snuck down. He said, go down there, listen. He's spying on him. He's listening into what one person, one Midianite or Amalekite soldier said to another. Okay, and just said, hey, And when Gideon was come, behold, there was a man that told a dream unto his fellow, and said, behold, I dreamed a dream, and lo, a cake of barley bread tumbled into the host of Midian, and came unto a tent, and smote it that it fell, and overturned it, and the tent lay along. And his fellow answered and said, this is nothing else save the sword of Gideon the son of Joash, a man of Israel. For into his hand has God delivered Midian and all the host. Verse 15, let the Bible speak.
And it was so, when Gideon heard the telling of the dream and the interpretation thereof, that he worshipped and returned into the host of Israel, and said, arise, for the Lord hath delivered into your hand the host of Midian.
Hey, he took that interpretation and said, oh man, it's okay. It's on now. It's on now. I heard it out of the enemy's mouth that the Lord has delivered them into our hand. Now what happened?
And he divided the 300 men into 3 companies, and he put a trumpet in every man's hand, with empty pitchers and lamps within the pitchers.
What else?
And he said unto them, look on me, and do likewise. And behold, when I come to the outside of the camp, it shall be that, as I do, so shall ye do.
Okay, just do everything that I do. Go ahead.
When I blow with a trumpet, I and all that are with me, then blow ye the trumpets also on every side of all the camp, and say, the sword of the Lord and of Gideon.
There you go. Go ahead.
So Gideon, the 100 men
that were with
him came unto the outside of the camp in the beginning of the middle watch.
Go ahead.
And they had but newly set the watch. And they blew the trumpets and brake the pitchers that were in their hands.
Go ahead.
And the 3 companies blew the trumpets and brake their pitchers, and held the
lamps in their hands,
left hands, and trumpets in their right hands to blow
withal.
And they cried, the sword of the Lord and of Gideon.
So they shouted out, the sword of the Lord and of Gideon. Go ahead.
And they stood every man in his place round the camp, about the camp, and all the hosts ran and cried and fled.
Now look what the enemy's doing. They blew they're confused now. They blowing a trumpet and they're like, oh, it's the sword of the Lord and Gideon. Everybody's freaking out. Okay, and then they stood every man in his place round about the camp, and all the hosts ran and cried and fled. Okay, they were panicking. Okay, in verse 22.
And the 300 blew the trumpets, and the Lord set every man's sword against his fellow.
They were killing each other. Okay, I don't want y'all to miss that. They were killing each other, and the 300 blew the trumpets, and the Lord set every man's sword against his fellow, even throughout what?
Even throughout all the hosts. And the host fled
to Beth-shittah
and
Zererath.
And to the border of Abel.
Even Molah unto Tabath. Go ahead.
And the men of Israel gathered themselves together out of Naphtali, and out of Asher, and out of Manasseh, and pursued after the Midian.
And they were chasing them. Okay, a couple of hundred was chasing after thousands. So go ahead.
And Gideon sent messengers throughout the Mount Ephraim, saying, come down against the Midianites, and take before them the waters unto Beth-barah and Jordan. Then all the men of Ephraim gathered themselves together and took the waters onto Beth-barah and Jordan. And they took 2 princes of the Midianites, Oreb and Zeb, and they slew Oreb upon the rock
Oreb.
And Zeb.
And Zeb they slew
winepress of Zeb. Pursued Midian.
And brought the heads of Oreb and Zeb to Gideon on the other side of Jordan.
Okay, so yeah, it looks like they won the battle. But where was your faith? Now, Gideon needed a little bit of reassurance, and he got his reassurance twice, 3 times actually. He got 2 reassurance and 1 confirmation, right? He had the thread, the wool. First it was wet, okay, that was half of it. The other one, it was dry, and then he heard the interpretation of a dream out of the enemy's mouth, yes. Okay. So he needed a little reassurance. So it's okay sometimes when you have faith. Oh, some people say, oh, well, my faith is not strong. The Most High has used people whose faith wasn't rock solid all the time, right? Wasn't not all the time. So sometimes your faith may fade. You may not be as firm in your belief. It happens sometimes. It's the giving up that's the problem. It's the completely giving up that's the problem. It's not that your faith waxes and wanes from time to time, because it will. It's not a problem. Many of our forefathers and mothers, their faith waxed and waned a bit. But it's the completely giving up that's the problem. Let us not forget that. We want to look at something else. Go to 1 Samuel, if you will. Join me in 1 Samuel, 2 books later. Chapter 17 in verse 37. I wanted to look at an example. We're looking at Gideon, and all of a sudden, he was having some trouble with his faith, but he came around. Okay? Caleb was strong with his faith. Let's look at little David. And let's look at his faith and his attitude. Remember, we said faith was a firmness, right? When we looked at the Hebrew word for faith that we found in Habakkuk, it said there's a steadfastness and a firmness. So go to 1 Samuel chapter 17. Let's pick it up at verse 37. And this is when they're going to go off to war with the Philistines. We're just taking a look. Okay, so what does it says in verse 37, brother?
David said, moreover, the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine. Of this Philistine. And Saul said unto David, go, and the Lord be with you.
Okay, so now he had reason to have faith to begin with. Now remember, he said, the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of a lion and out of the paw of a bear. Okay, so David had an encounter with a lion and a bear, and he came out okay. Okay, he came out all right. And he gives credit to the Lord that the Lord delivered him out of that. Okay, so he said, look, if I escape the lion and I escape the bear, I'm not worrying about a Philistine. I don't care how big they are. Are you following me? Verse 38, go ahead.
And Saul armed David with his armor, and he put an helmet of brass upon his head. Also he armed him with a coat of mail. And David girded his sword upon his armor.
Come on.
And he is set
to go.
For he had not proved it. And David said unto Saul, I cannot go with these, for I have not proved them. And David put them off him. And he took his staff in his hand and chose him. Yeah,
he said, I haven't tested. He's basically saying, I haven't tested this stuff out. This is not my armor. I'm not used to this. I'm not comfortable, basically. Okay, and then David put them off of him. And then what he did in verse 40?
And he took his staff in his hand and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook, and put them in a shepherd's bag which he had, even in a scrip. And his sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine.
Go ahead.
And the Philistine came on and drew near unto David, and the man that bare the shield went before him.
Okay, now basically, we know the Philistine they're talking about is David. This is the story of David and Goliath, but I'm not here to retell the story of David and Goliath. What I want to draw out of the story is the faith that David had facing Goliath, and we're going to get to this real soon here. He said, and he took his staff in his hand and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook and put them in a shepherd's bag, which he had, even in a scrip. And his sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine. What happened? 41.
And the Philistine came on and drew near unto David, and the man that bare the shield went before him.
Go ahead.
And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him. for he was but a youth, and ruddy and of a fair countenance.
Okay, so he's young. I mean, young looking. You know, picture like a young Michael Ealy or something like that. Okay, young, ruddy, just a boy, just a teenager. If you can imagine, like a teenage. Okay, he said, and when the Philistine looked about and he saw David, he disdained him. He hated him. He's like, you know how you look at somebody up and down like they don't amount to much. You just kind of, you know, this is what you're sending out here to battle me. This little guy right here. Okay, okay. He said he disdained him, for he was but a youth and ruddy and of a fair countenance. Look really, really young. Okay, you're going to send this young little pretty boy out here to... Okay, this is going to be over real quick. Verse 43.
And the Philistine said unto David, Am I a dog, that thou comest to me with staves? And the Philistine cursed David by his God. And the Philistine said to David, Come to me, and I will give thy flesh unto the fowls of the air, and to the beasts of the field.
I'm going to feed you to the animals. Go ahead.
And then said David...
Now, let's see the attitude and the faith of David. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Then said David to the Philistine, Thou comest to me with a sword, and with a spear, and with a shield, but I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, and God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied.
Go ahead.
This day will the Lord deliver thee into mine hand, and I will smite thee, and take thine head from thee, and I will give the carcasses of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air, and to the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel.
Yeah, he's telling me, before I do, first of all, this is what I'm going to do. And before I do this, I want everybody to know who's responsible for doing it, which is the Lord of Israel. So that's him, giving him glory, right? Giving him glory. So before he does it, he's already given the credit to the Most High God of Israel. And he's saying, okay, so when this happened, you're going to know that there's a God in Israel. Now you're going to know. So he went ahead and want to give God the glory. He told him everything he's going to do. He says, okay, this is what I'm going to do. First of all, the Lord's going to deliver you in my hand. Okay. Second of all, I'm going to take your head. Okay. Next, I'm going to give your body to the carcasses of the host of Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air and the beasts of the field. You are about to be food. And after that, I'm just let everybody know the God of Israel did this to you. Just so you guys know before it goes down. 47.
And all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and spear. For the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands.
Now, does he sound pretty sure? Does he sound like he has a lot of faith, right? He sounds pretty sure of himself, doesn't he? That's what I'm talking about, people. That's all I'm talking about right there. I want to give you the example of the faith. We already know he took the sling and he threw it and hit Goliath between his eyes, and he actually made good on his promise and cut his head off. We know that. I wasn't even going there. We already know the victory was well at hand. But I'm just trying to show you guys that through his faith, the victory was already won. It was already done. It was a done deal. The Philistines didn't know. He was just letting them know what's about to happen. You get me? He already knew what was going to happen. He knew exactly how it was going to go down and who was responsible. I'm just letting you guys know. Okay, I'm just going to let you know what your fate's going to be. So we can keep going and all that if we want to, but you guys already know the story, okay? So now, let's go ahead and move forward and go to Matthew chapter 8, if you will. Matthew chapter 8. I just wanted to show you guys in this room and everyone watching the faith, the stance that he had, the steadfastness he had, the firmness he displayed. That's what I wanted you to know. Now let's continue to Matthew 8. And when we get to Matthew 8, pick it up at verse 5. Matthew 8 and verse 5. Go ahead.
And when Jesus was entering into Capernaum, there came unto him a centurion beseeching him, and saying, Lord, my servant lieth at home, sick of the palsy, grievously tormented. And Jesus saith unto him, I will come and heal him. Okay, all right, I'll go over and take care of you. Okay, lead the way. I'll go to your house. I'll take care of it. Go to your house. What did the centurion say? The centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldest come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. Does that sound like faith to you? Yeah. Does that sound like faith to
you. Not someone who, he didn't know the Lord personally. He just heard about him. Hey man, this is a man of God. He can do things. I think he can. I think he can do that. Let me go look for him. Ran into him. Said, hey, my servant at home has palsy. And he's in bad shape. He's grievously tormented. He's in really, really bad shape. And the Lord didn't fight with him or anything. He just said, okay, all right, I'll come and I'll heal him. This centurion, verse 8, he says, the centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou should come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. Verse 9, go ahead.
For I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me. And I say to this man, go, and he goeth. And to another, come, and he cometh. And to my servant, do this, and he doeth it. When Jesus heard it, he marveled, and said to them that followed, verily I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel.
What? I haven't found great what? Faith? So this whole exchange was a matter of faith, yes or yes?
Yeah.
It's a matter of faith. And the Messiah said, I ain't found so great faith, not in Israel. That's it. I believe if you say you can heal someone, if you say he's healed, it's going to be done. When I get back home, I already know it'll be done. That's how much my faith is. It's a firmness. It's a steadfastness. Okay, let's go ahead and finish that up. Not so in Israel, verse 11.
And I say unto you that many shall come from the east and west, and shall sit down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven.
No, that's learning something on the way to learn something. So we got an idea of who's going to be in the kingdom of heaven, right? Okay, so go ahead.
But the children of the kingdom shall be cast out into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
Go ahead, 13.
And Jesus said unto the centurion, Go thy way, and as thou hast believed, so be it done unto thee. And his servant was healed in the same hour.
Yeah. By the time he got home, pretty much within the hour, depends on how far he lives. Same hour. Within that hour, servant was healed. And it was a matter of faith. So the lingering question is always going to be throughout this lesson, how strong is your faith? Where's your faith? Do you believe? Do you really believe? Let's go to Psalm 27. Psalm 27. The question remains, do you believe? Where's your faith? Psalm 27, and when you get to 27, let's pick it up at verse 1.
The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear?
No one. Go ahead.
The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid?
Go ahead.
When the wicked, even my enemies and my foes, came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. Though an host should encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. That war should rise against me. In this will I be confident.
Go ahead.
One thing have I desired of the Lord, that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord, and to inquire in his temple.
Oh, that is a beautiful thought right there. Brothers and sisters, that is a beautiful thought. That's one of the things I want to believe. That's one of the things I have faith in. I'm going to read verse 4 one more time. He said, one thing have I desired of the Lord. I'm saying this for myself. Okay? I want to thank my forefather David just for writing it. Okay? I love these words. One thing have I desired of the Lord, that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life. Yes, I would like that very much. To behold the beauty of the Lord. Yes, I would like that very much. And to inquire in his temple. You know all those questions you guys want answered? Guess where you go get them answered? Verse 6. Verse 5, I'm sorry. Verse 5.
For in the time of trouble he shall hide me in his pavilion. In the secret of his tabernacle shall he hide me. He shall set me up upon a rock.
Yes. So that's where you put your trust. This is what your faith is in. He said, like in verse 3, he said, though a host should encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war should rise against me, in this will I be confident. Well, he's confident, okay? Trust, believe, faith, confident, firmness, steadfastness, excuse me. So this is the things that we're looking at. See, when you have your eye on the end goal, You won't let the moment, these temporary obstacles, okay, these momentary obstacles trip you up. David was just stayed on the Lord. Was he not? When you read the Psalms, was he not? He just stayed, his mind stayed there. His mind stayed there. That's what you and I have to do. Focused on the big. Psalm 37, chapter 37. You're still in Psalm. Go to chapter 37. Not done. Almost there. Psalm chapter 37. Okay. Pick it up at verse 1 and let's let the Bible speak. Go ahead.
Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity.
Go ahead.
For they shall soon be cut down like the grass, and wither as the grass herb.
Come on.
Trust in the Lord and do good.
Trust in the Lord and do good.
So shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed.
Go ahead.
Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy way unto the Lord.
And what else?
Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass.
Come on.
And he shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the moon.
That's all we need. Trust in the Lord. Just trust. Trust. It's not about just being blind or no. You know what you believe. Now trust it. Trust that his word will come to pass. We got to get this. We're still in Psalm. Let's do one more place in Psalm, which is Psalm 56. Psalm 56. And let's begin to close this thing out. Psalm 56. 2 verses. Psalm 56, and pick it up at verse 3.
What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee.
Yes, we will. Go ahead.
In God I will praise his word.
Yes.
In God I have put my trust. I will not fear what flesh can do unto me.
You guys need to take that home. Don't fear what flesh will do to you. You trust in the Lord, because see, dark days may be coming ahead. I mean, it's nice and you know, it's everything's manageable and tolerable. You know, if the trouble isn't in your backyard right now, life is pretty good. I understand we can look at the news and we see all kinds of bad things happening and all that. I'm not saying bad things are not happening in the world. There is. But what I'm saying is that most people have it pretty good because the trouble is not right there on their front doorstep. But I'm telling you that one day trouble will be at your doorstep. And what are you going to rely on? What are you going to believe in? What's your foundation? Where's your faith? You're going to need something to center you. Something. So it's probably a good idea to strengthen your faith right now, to gird yourself up right now and be really clear on what it is that you believe. We're going to continue here. Let's finish. Let's go to Isaiah 26. Isaiah chapter 26. And I only want 2 verses there. Start at verse 3.
Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace.
Yes.
Whose mind is stayed on thee.
Yes.
Because he trusteth
because he trusted thee. Go ahead.
Trust ye in the Lord forever.
Yes.
For in the Lord Jehovah is everlasting strength.
That's all we need. Okay. And my last part in shall be Hebrews chapter 11. Go to Hebrews chapter 11, our last place. Go right ahead. But he just said in Isaiah 26:4, trust ye in the Lord forever, for in the Lord Jehovah is everlasting strength. We have to have an understanding of that, brothers and sisters. It's time to gird up your faith. That's why we're on this countdown to Pentecost. That's why we're building up to it. We got to get our faith in order. Hebrews chapter 11. We just want to read a little bit of it. Won't read all of it, but let's go through it a little bit, starting at verse 1.
Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
Go ahead.
For by it the elders obtained a good report.
Go ahead.
Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God.
Come on.
So that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear.
Go ahead.
By faith Abel offered unto God a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, by which he obtained witness that he was righteous.
Go ahead.
God testifying of his gifts, and by it he, being dead, yet speaketh.
Go ahead.
By faith Enoch was translated that he should not see death, and was not found, because God had translated him. For before his translation he had his testimony that he pleased God.
Go ahead.
But without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek.
Gideon, David, Abraham, all these people had to have faith to please God. Guess what you have to please God? Keep going.
That diligently seek him. By faith Noah, being warned of God of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by the which he condemned the world, and became heir of the righteousness which is by faith.
Go ahead.
By faith Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he shall after receive for an inheritance, obeyed, and he went out not knowing whither he went.
Didn't know. Go ahead.
By faith he sojourned in the land of promise, as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he looked for a city which hath foundations, whose builder and maker is God.
Go ahead.
Through faith also Sarah herself received strength to conceive seed, and was delivered of a child when she was past age, because she judged him faithful who had promised.
She believed in what the Lord said. The Lord said, I'm going to give you a child. I'm going to give you a child. Go ahead.
Therefore sprang there even of one in him as good as dead, so many as the stars in the sky in multitude, as the sand which is by the sea shore, innumerable. They're all died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off, and were persuaded of them, and embraced them, and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth.
We have to be persuaded of the promise as well. Okay? We have to be persuaded of them and embrace them as well, like they did, because they hadn't received the promise yet. So what does that tell you about the promise? If the promise was heaven and... No, we're going to keep going. If they hadn't received it yet, but we're going to keep going. Go ahead. 14.
For they that say such things declare plainly that they seek a country.
They seek a country. Interesting. Go ahead.
And truly, if they had been mindful of that country from whence they came out, they might have had an opportunity to have returned. But now they desire a better country, that is.
Well, I tell you, that waiting line in heaven is long, because they hadn't gotten there yet. Go ahead.
And heavenly. Wherefore God is not ashamed to be called their God, for he hath prepared for them a city.
Go ahead.
By faith Abraham, when he was tried, offered up Isaac, and he that had received the promises offered up his only begotten son, of whom it was said that in Isaac shall thy seed be called, counting that God was able to raise him up even from the dead, from whence also he received him in a figure. By faith Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau concerning things to come.
Yep.
By faith Jacob, when he was a dying, blessed both the sons of Joseph, and worshipped.
Like Ephraim and Manasseh. Go ahead.
Leaning upon the top of his staff. By faith Joseph, when he died, made mention of the departing of the children of Israel, and gave commandment concerning his bones.
What else?
By faith Moses, when he was born, was hid 3 months of his parents, because they saw he was a proper child, and they were not afraid of the king's commandment.
You're talking about kill all the firstborns. They didn't do that. Go ahead.
By faith Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season.
Go ahead.
Esteeming the reproach of Christ greater riches than the treasures in Egypt, for he had respect unto the recompense of the reward. By faith he forsook Egypt, and not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invisible.
Go ahead.
Through faith he kept the Passover and the sprinkling of blood, lest he that destroyed the firstborn should touch them. By faith they passed through the Red Sea as by dry land, which the Egyptians saying to do were drowned. By faith the walls of Jericho fell down after they were compassed about 7 days. The faith of Harlot Rahab perished not with them that believed not, when she had received the spies with peace. And what shall I more say? For the time would fail me to tell of Gideon.
I told you about Gideon. Go ahead.
And of Barak, and of Samson. Of Jephthah. Of David also, and Samuel, and of the prophets. Who through faith subdued kingdoms, wrought righteousness, obtained promises, stopping the mouths of lions.
Okay.
Quenched the violence of fire, escaped the edge of the sword. Out of weakness were made strong. Waxed valiant in fight. Turned to flight
the armies of aliens. Okay, so I think you guys get the idea. But do you also get the idea that faith is actually an action word? Do you see that through faith they did something? Through faith they did something else. Through faith they acted. Did we catch that? So that's what I'm saying here. You still have to do what you must. But while you are doing it, have faith. Bring that with you. Just like the old 80s American Express card, do not leave home without your faith. Always have your faith with you. Always arm yourself with your faith. You're doing what you're doing in faith and by faith. Period. It's not just an emotional feeling. It's a firmness. It's a steadfastness. It's a knowing. Like it says in the beginning, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So with that, I hope somebody, anybody, any of the brothers and sisters out there have been edified by this lesson. So until next time, search the scriptures, improve all things. Shalom and peace, Israel.